What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's a little dark. I still ain't got my setup inside of the house fixed yet, so I'm just gonna record out here. But anyway, I wanted to hop on here. It's kind of late. I just got through watching the interview with the CEO of Keel Infrastructure, Ben Gagnon, and he was on McNally Money. And I'll link it down below if you guys want to go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. But he was on for about 25 minutes. And honestly, all in all, my take, it wasn't anything earth-shattering. It wasn't anything, out of this world. Basically, they had him on and they just went over they went through the whole capital raise and the whole convertible note offering. And, Ben was just saying how, opportunistic that opportunity was and how they timed, and where they timed the market at. They timed it at a very good time. He said there was so much interest that they could have raised even more money, but they didn't want to come out of the box, shooting hard and, wanting to raise every single dollar that they could right now. But there was also a part in there where one of the guys asked him, the last time we had you on, and this is him speaking, he said, the last time we had you on, you were pretty confident about 3 deals being signed within 2026. And he said, if I was to ask you a one-word answer, do you still have that same kind of confidence, or where would your confidence be? And all Ben says is more, which means he has way more confidence now about getting those deals signed. And he said that having all this capital that they raised on their balance sheet, which now their balance sheet's almost like $1 billion balance sheet. So, when these big hyperscalers do finally look at, take a look at Keel, which I'm sure they already are, these deals take months and months and months of planning. You have all the legal stuff, then you got to do all the paperwork and all that stuff. So I'm sure they're already in talks with, somebody for deals. But when they are, a company with $1 billion balance sheet able to do build outs, is very attractive to somebody coming in that wants to get their stuff online as soon as they can, right? So, that's a point that he made, that, having that kind of balance sheet is very attractive to potential leasers. And then they just went into, talking about, another question was asked, if you do have a deal signed, are y'all going to bring it straight to market, or do you plan on, to kind of, announcing it around an earnings call or anything like that? And Ben answered that saying, as it would be nice to, announce it around an earnings call, but it's really hard to do when you have all these moving parts coming together at one time. And he said, we would really want to get it to market as soon as possible, because the market's expecting it, and they really want to drive value to shareholders. So all in all, good interview. It wasn't really anything we were hoping for, with a deal announcement or anything like that. But I didn't really expect a deal announcement on an interview like that. They're going to come out with a, official press release and do it the right way. But it's just good to see him putting his face out there, him coming out and talking to the retail community, because this stock is a very, very retail heavy stock. And it's good that the CEO knows that. And it's good that he's continuously coming out and, getting on YouTube channels and talking to the community. And McNally Money does a really good job of conducting those interviews. They're very knowledgeable on the space, and, the whole Bitcoin mining and the new, AI infrastructure space. They cover it every single day. So, they're probably one of the best people that could interview him. So all in all, really couldn't take much away from it. Like I said, if you were, interested in or wondering about their, convertible note offering, it's a pretty good interview to watch. They go over everything. And, they were also talking about, because on the convertible note offering, so they have the cap call for about 5 years at the price of, I think it was $11.88. One of the guys asked, he said, us as shareholders, we're going to expect the stock price to potentially be way over $11.88 in 5 years. So what would you plan to do at that time, instead of all that dilution? And they went on to say, there is a potential. That's the good thing about convertible note offerings and cap call options is, at the time, when the time arises, you can convert that into debt instead of, diluting the hell out of shareholders. So they do have a plan. They're very strategic in what they're doing, in my opinion. So all in all, good interview. Wanted to come on here and give you guys my thoughts and recap like I said, I will link that interview down in the description. Sorry this video wasn't very well put together. It's kind of just my raw thoughts. I just got done watching it and wanted to get this video out there. So let me know how y'all like it. Let me know what y'all took away from the interview as well. The one good thing I took away from it is when he said more, right? He's got his confidence has rose a ton from just a month ago. So that's always a good sign. That's always good to hear. Their balance sheet is strong. They have interests in their facilities, which is also very good to hear. And there's also other infrastructure companies out there right now, you know, trying to supply power for 2028, 2029, when all of Keel's power is planned to be online by 2027. So that's another thing they got going for them. Power is a hot commodity right now. All the hyperscalers are looking for it. It's a huge bottleneck. And I think that's why we're all in Keel, because, you know, we're waiting on that re-rate. They got the power that the hyperscalers need, and we're hoping it comes to fruition. So y'all have a good night. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all be safe.